Ladies and gentlemen, hello, this is Debo over at Go, and today we have another round of spoilers for you. To start out, let's go ahead and take a look at Woodland Champion. Now, this is an uncommon for 1 in a green. It's a 2/2, and it has a lot of token synergies. It says whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, put that many +1/+1 counters on Woodland Champion. What's really interesting is this does not say creature tokens, it just says tokens. So things like treasure will count, your treasure maps or your smothering tithe, those would work. Or just your sapperling tokens, your knight tokens with like History of Benalia or something like that will grow this thing. I think that this could actually be a really good piece in that tokens list, and I'm excited to try it out. Drown from Dreams, 2 blue for a sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. This is a little expensive for this type of effect, but it is, it's the top 7 of your library. You get to put 2 of them into your hand, so it's technically a draw 2 for 4, but it's better than that because it's card selection. You get to see 7 different cards. I think this is decent. It'll see some play. Where it's probably going to see the most play is when you're going to be pairing it with something like Ral Zarot, where you get to tick down Ral, his -2 to have a copy effect, and then you get to play this and copy it up. So then that way you're getting 4 cards for 4 mana. You could also play this with Kefnet. This seems really good in that style of list, where you reveal it on your draw, and then you only have to pay 2 blue for this effect. Seems really good. Those are probably the places where I play this card. It's a really interesting spell. It's definitely going to see a lot of commander play, maybe some standard play. Elvish Reclaimer, for a green, get an elf warrior. It's a 1/2, and it gets +2/+2 as long as there are 3 or more land cards in your graveyard. Again, we're seeing a lot more of these land synergies coming up with the set. And then we have 2 in tap. Sacrifice a land, search your library for a land card, and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. All right, so it feeds itself to get it bigger. It allows you to tutor up utility lands. It allows you to tutor up your mana fixing that you need. This card is going to be really good. This will see standard play. It'll definitely see commander play. This card's amazing. I think it's going to fit really well in lists like that. Omnath, Locus of the Royal. For 1 green, blue, and red, we get a 3/3 legendary elemental, another great Omnath commander. And it says whenever Omnath, Locus of the Royal enters the battlefield, it deals damage to any target equal to the number of elementals you control. And then it says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target elemental you control. If you control 8 or more lands, you also get to draw a card. Okay, so Omnath, this is really interesting. So we kind of have this elemental sub theme in the set. I think Omnath, Locus of the Royal can fit in that deck. It's looking to want to be Teamer with the new Chandra and that other one that allows you to manipulate your elementals, all that kind of stuff. So we have elementals and Teamer. As for Commander, you'll definitely be able to fit all the other Omnaths under this one. And it's pretty easy to get to 8 lands if you're running a lot of ramp and that type of thing, so you can start getting your card draw and everything like that. I think it's going to see some standard play. I don't know if it's going to see a lot, but yeah, if the Teamer deck becomes real, this will definitely be a strong piece in it. Chevalier de Diamant. So this is obviously a French version of this card. I don't have the translation for the title of the card. However, it is 3 colors for a 1/1. It has vigilance. It is a knight, so we're getting some more knight synergies with this. And as it enters the battlefield, you choose a color. And whenever you cast a spell of the chosen color, you put a +1/+1 counter on the Chevalier de Diamant. This will definitely be an interesting piece to consider for knights. It is a little expensive. However, if you're missing your mana to cast your other knights, is something that is available to you. It does have vigilance, and then you can name whatever your dominant color is, whether it be white or black, specifically for that knight list. I think it could see play in that. It'll definitely be a consideration for commander as well. I don't know, I would give it a try. Renowned Weaponsmith gets a reprint, 1 blue for a 1/3. You can tap and add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool, and you can spend this to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. And you can also pay a blue and tap it to search your library for a card named Heart Piercer Bow and Vial of Dragonfire. and you can reveal it and put it into your hand and then shuffle your library. So you're mainly going to use this for the top ability and like a blue-black artifacts list that you're going to want to be ramping into. There's a lot of artifacts that have activated abilities, and this will give you mana to be able to activate those or just get them onto the battlefield. The other ones aren't necessarily like that important for you to really know about, the ones that it mentions on the card here. So if you want to run a list like that, it maybe fits in like a Joyride list where you can tutor them up, and then if Joyr's on the battlefield, you can then cast them for the 2 colorless mana there and then draw a card. So you're technically like drawing 2 cards with this 1 card. It's kind of interesting. But I think if this will see any play at all, it'll be in a blue-black or a Grixis artifacts list here in Standard. Cavalier of the Night, we have a continuation of the Cavalier cycle, 2 black for a 4/5 elemental knight. It's interesting that these Cavaliers are elementals too, just something to keep in mind. It has lifelink, and it has whenever Cavalier of Night enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target creature an opponent controls. And when Cavalier of Night dies, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this gives you another option to be able to just have some sort of resiliency if they happen to kill your creature. I don't know if you're gonna want to be playing this to sacrifice your things. Maybe if you're gonna play this in some sort of like a Mardu Aristocrats list, it is a free sack outlet for a single card, plus you can get something back, like maybe if your Judith were to die in combat or something like that and this were to die, you can get your Judith back. I don't know, maybe it's interesting. Spectral Sailor, for a blue we have a Spirit Pirate, 2 tribes that needed some support in Standard. It is a 1/1, and the main thing about this is it has flash, so you can flash it on your opponent's turn, and then you can also hold it up in case you need to save your creatures back before it's like sorcery speed removal, that type of a thing. And it does have 3 and a blue draw card. Great for limited. It'll see some play in Standard, especially in these tribes, and it could provide some long-term support for them as it moves on. Next on the list, we have Night Pack Ambusher for 2 green. We have a 4/4 wolf. This is really interesting. It's got flash, and other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1. And then at the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So it kind of harkens back to that whole werewolf type of mechanic. I like that wolves are starting to get more support in the set. We have some wolf payoffs in other sets. The problem is Teferi comes down on 3, which then makes this useless on 4. I don't know if there's going to be enough support to make wolves like a tier 1 thing. It'll probably be like a tier 3 fun casual deck. I do like that this plays really well with your werewolf lists as well. So if you want to play this in like your werewolf commander, or if you, God forbid, want to make a werewolf modern deck, this could fit in that as well. We have another really awesome reprint here, Steel Overseer, 2 colorless mana for a 1/1 artifact creature construct. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact creature you control. So this is a modern staple. I'm sure it was starting to get up there in price, and having it reprinted in the set is going to go a long way to reducing that price. We don't have a ton of artifacts, artifact creatures in the format right now. They probably will play this alongside something like Saheeli, maybe the old Karn. But yeah, it's still a good card. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to try to find a way to break this card in Standard. It's definitely good, and I can't wait to play it. Here is a piece for a combo, if I ever did see one. Manifold Key, 1 colorless for an artifact, 1 tap and untap another target artifact, and you can pay 3 and tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. You're likely going to be using this for its first ability. That 1 tap and untap another target artifact is crazy good, and there are some really good things that we can be using in Standard right now to really abuse this. The one that's off the top of my head is Treasure Map or Azur's Gateway. Both of those are insane with this, and then if you pair that also with like Kiora, then all of a sudden you're able to almost get your Azur's Gateway flipped in a turn. It's pretty nuts. This card's gonna be really good in lists like that, and I love that it's only 1 mana to cast. Agent of Treachery, 5 blue for a 2/3 human rogue. When Agent of Treachery enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents you don't own, draw 3 cards. Okay, this card is probably not going to see much play, to be honest. I could see it maybe in a Nissa list, like there's already that blue-green Thieves list. This might slot in that, maybe as a sideboard piece or something like that. What I do really like about this is that you get the draw 3 for whenever you're controlling things that your opponents own. The problem is this feels very much like a win more card. So you can steal something, great, you're winning, and not to mention it's a permanent, so you can steal a land, you can steal a planeswalker, enchantment, artifact, whatever. And then, at the beginning of your instep, if you're already winning, you get to win more by drawing 3 cards. So it feels very win more. I don't think it's going to see a lot of standard play. This can go into a lot of commander lists. So, probably more of a commander card than anything. Cerulean Drake, 1 in a blue for a 1/1 Drake. It's got flying, protection from red, and then you can sacrifice it to counter target spell that targets you. This is going to be great for any blue X list that has that mono red matchup, or even just a burn matchup in general. We're going to need cards like this when Exelon drops out and we lose our favorite bird wizard. So I definitely like this card. I like this, got protection from red, and it's really cheap on the curve, and I think it'll be a great sideboard piece. Shifting Ceratops, 2 green for a 5/4 dinosaur. Dinosaurs keep getting printed in this set, and this is a really, really good rate for this card already. But then we also have this spell can't be countered. Amazing. And then protection from blue, even more amazing. It can't be unsummoned. And then it has green. Shifting Ceratops gains your choice of reach, trample, or haste until end of turn. All right. So for 5 mana, we get a 5/4 that can't be countered. It has protection from blue, and it has haste. That is amazing. So I'm definitely high on this card. I think it's going to be great in a mono green list. It's going to be great in any green X list, really. Could be a decent sideboard card for those that aren't necessarily focused directly on just damage. But yeah, I'm up on this one. I like it a lot. Icon de Ancestralidade. I'm sure it's like icon of ancestors, something like, or ancestral icons, something like that. It's another artifact. It's got 3 colorless mana as its mana cost, and when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you choose of the chosen type get +1/+1, so more tribal synergy here. And you can pay 3 and tap and look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature of the chosen type from among them and put them into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So I think this just directly is going to be a better card than something like Radiant Destiny. It fits in any list. It allows you to still get that Anthem effect. Sure, you don't get the Vigilance with the Ascend. However, you do get something that's much better than that in the 3 and tap and refill your hand with more creatures. So I like this card a lot. It's probably not going to see a ton of play. Maybe in some like tier 2 lists that are looking to run tribal synergies. It is just another tribal payoff. We're coming up on the end here. We have a really, really powerful land card here. Lotus Field. I can't even believe I'm saying this. It's a land that has Hexbrew for 1. It enters the battlefield tapped. And when Lotus Field enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice 2 lands. All right, so it already seems bad, right? Wrong. Add 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. Not only is this great in something like Commander, especially with like the Gitrog monster, but in Standard, we do still have Crucible of Worlds. Okay, we do still have Mending of Dominaria. We still have World Shaper. This card will fit very well in lists like that. It's just another means for us to ramp very efficiently, very effectively. What makes this card balanced is you can't play this on turn 1 or turn 2. The earliest you can play it is on turn 3 when you have 2 lands on the battlefield. And it also puts you off a turn because you have to sacrifice those lands. But again, if there's ways to untap permanents, like say with Kiora, something like that, you can go turn 1 land Llanowar Elf, turn 2 land Kiora, turn 3 fill your mana pool with mana, play Lotus Field, sacrifice your other 2 lands, untap it with Kiora, and then tap your Llanowar plus this, and then all of a sudden you have 6 mana on turn 3. Now if you can't figure out something great to play with 6 mana on turn 3, I don't know what else you could do, right? So, I mean, even if you just go something like Jade Light Ranger into Crucible of Worlds, or maybe even your Wayward Sawtooth into Crucible of Worlds and get back another land or so from your graveyard, that seems like a really fine play with something like this. I'm definitely high on this card. I'm going to definitely be trying to play it in certain lists. I'm not sure exactly where it goes, but it's probably going to be in that Lands Matters lists. And lastly, we have Villas, Broker of Blood, 5 black, 8 mana for an 8/8 legendary creature demon with flying. And it's got some really interesting text here. It has pay a black and pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. And then when the real kicker on this, whenever you lose life, you draw that many cards. So this goes on the battlefield, and let's say you're running something like Bolas's Citadel, you then start paying a bunch of life, you're drawing a ton of cards. That's pretty sweet. And note it says lose life, so damage is loss of life. So if someone deals you damage, you get to draw that many cards. Paying life is loss of life. Basically, any way for your life total, if you're switching life totals for one, that's loss of life. So any way for you to be able to lose life, you could draw a ton of cards. I like that it's an 8/8 flyer. You're never going to hard cast this. You're never going to hard cast this. You're probably going to reanimate it with some sort of reanimation spell. We have a few in standard at the moment. That's probably where you're going to see this. And I don't know. I mean, you've got the Bond of Reanimation or something like that. That does give it haste. So all of a sudden you would have an 8/8 hasty flying trampler on turn 5 with that one. So I don't know. Maybe it could fit in something like that. Probably more of a commander card, but it is a great reanimation target in standard. Well, guys, that's all I have for today's spoiler video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to follow us on landsaygo.com. Again, my name is Debo, and I'm looking forward to the next one.